Hello, George.
Hey man, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. We've been speaking for the last 5 or 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, I know this podcast has already begun, kind of thing.
It has. We've had a
But
discussion
it's
about
cool.
coronavirus.
Yep.
And you film dirt bike racing. Is that right?
Yeah. I guess I definitely started filming dirt bike racing, and sort of like motocross, and then like sort of now I'm sort of still filming that stuff, but like I guess looking to branch out to other things. I feel like I've done not everything in it, but like I filmed a lot in it, and it would be cool to do something different because I don't know, it's good to like, you know what I mean, like just do something a bit different to keep the interest going, I guess.
Totally, yeah. You don't want to be stuck in that one niche of just dirt bikes.
No, yeah, it's like it is a good niche, and it's been like really good for me, especially with like with the drone things now. Like it's been perfect for like, because extreme sports is, I guess, the passion, like that's the sort of theme. And motocross has been like a really good start for me in terms of just starting out and just actually producing something and getting it out there. And yeah, there's not like tons of guys in the UK that do video of like, it's not like I wouldn't say it's like massively oversaturated in terms of like filming dirt bike videos in the UK. There's only like, you know, a top few bunch of people that do it. And then obviously there's the brands and stuff that, you know, they do their own stuff. But yeah, it's been good. But yeah, looking forward to doing some other things, maybe with like downhill. I've got a guy potentially, you know, going to film some downhill with him, and BMX maybe, just still sort of keeping with the two wheel theme, but like, yeah, I don't know, just something a bit different. I don't know.
Whoa, nice. So downhill, is that like going downhill on sports bikes?
Yeah, like downhill mountain bike racing.
Oh my God. How do you like keep track of the motorbike when they're going at that speed?
Well, I mean, that's like the downhill. Are you on about downhill or motocross?
Downhill.
Yeah, so downhill is like, that's like bicycle, like not motocross bikes. They're like just like, do you know what I mean, like just pedal bikes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they go like they like do races and stuff. But I'm not really sort of like au fait with that sort of like sort of niche, I guess. Like in terms of like how it all goes down and the rules and all that sort of stuff. Like I'm a lot more like, I know a lot more about motocross, I guess, but yeah, you gotta like, I guess, to like follow them, you kind of, well, with the drone it's different. That's sort of like a whole nother ball game. And that's sort of like what I've gone into since lockdown, really. It's been like a really good project for me to like learn the drone side of things, which I've, you know, never done before. So that's been like really good. But yeah, I mean, I started doing stuff with just like a normal camera, and then you know, started that way, and then ever since I sort of picked the drone up, that's really when things, I feel, picked up, like, for me, I guess. So that's, yeah, definitely a good move for lockdown.
For sure. Drones are safer as well. You can keep your distance during these pandemic times.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, I mean, the idea, like with the drone because you can sort of get two types of drones. I'm going to get I guess I get a bit nerdy now. It's like, you might not understand, but like with all the sort of the drone stuff, like you get like your normal drones that will just fly up and down, you know, pretty standard. And then the drones that I fly are called FPV drones. So that means that basically you look through goggles to fly them. So yeah, so it's called FPV. It's like first person view. So basically, you know, like a VR like headset. You would look through like a VR. It's similar to a VR headset, but basically you look through the camera on the front of the drone. So that's how it's sort of like, that's how you sort of fly it, if you know what I mean. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get you. That sounds like a thrill. You must like. Does that provoke any sort of physical reaction within you when you're in that sort of?
Oh yeah, massively. Yeah, massively. Yeah, I think I remember when I first started filming like motocross bikes with it, because obviously that was the plan, was to get it, learn to fly it, and then film motocross bikes with it. I remember the first time I went out, I was with another guy actually that I met up with, and he flew drones as well. And he stood up when he flew his drone. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just stand up. So I stood up, had my headset on, like had my controller, started flying the drone around. And then like, because it's so like intensive and you feel like you're on it, your body sort of reacts to the way the drone moves. So if you turn left with the drone, you sort of like, you know what I mean? When you're playing like maybe an Xbox game, you like turn left. So like your body starts to move with the drone, and then my legs started feeling like jelly, and I almost fell over. So I know I don't. Yeah, I don't like stand up anymore because it's a bit dangerous for me.
Oh wow! So you're sat down whilst you're doing all of these controls.
Yeah, I mean I can stand up now. Like I'm not as bad as I used to be, but definitely prefer to sit down because it's like, I don't know, it's just quite intense, really. Like when I first.
Okay.
Yeah,
no,
sorry.
It's a problem with doing this over Zoom.
I think the lag's doing us dirty. Yeah.
It is.
But yeah, basically, I can't remember what you said. What did you say?
Do you ever get that sort of an adrenaline like feeling when you're right next to the bikes inside of the headset, as if you're racing along next to them?
Yeah, no, definitely a big adrenaline feeling with like the drone. That's like a lot of the reason why it's a growing hobby, I guess, the FPV thing, because it evokes so much like emotion, like you say, and that's why people just like do it for fun and not for like a job or anything. They just fly the drones because it's like super fun, and you can get like really close to the ground and do like flips and turns and like tons of stuff with it. So it's not just like a tool for work. It's like, it's a big hobby. And I think that's why it's done so well, is because it's like, yeah, like you say, it's pretty big adrenaline rush when you're either like following a motocross bike at, you know, like 40, 50 mile an hour, because they go like, I mean, some drones can go like over 100 mile an hour, like the ones similar to mine. So yeah, when you're going like that fast and you're sort of like on the drone kind of, if you know what I mean, then yeah, it's definitely definitely an adrenaline rush.
I feel like that when I'm watching your videos on Instagram, it gives me a bit of a buzz and a kick, like, oh man, I want to be on that bike.
Oh yeah, that's good. Well, that's the plan, like to get more people into it, really. I see a lot of like comments, usually people saying, oh, this makes me want to ride, and like, you know, I just want to get on my bike now after seeing this. Like, that's quite a common comment I see a lot, and I think that's good, really. It's good to get people out, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's better than like staying inside and I don't know, riding a motorbike in GTA.
Yeah, no, it's good to get out. I think because I ride motocross bikes myself, it helps when it comes to filming them, because I sort of like have a somewhat understanding of like what they're going to do, where they're going to go, how like the bikes react to like jumps and things like that. So, you know, like touch wood, never crashed into anyone, but like, I kind of have that sort of knowledge, because I think when some people come into it, like I've seen some like drone pilots come into like sort of like maybe the motocross scene with their drone, they fly like really dangerously, like close to the rider or something super dangerous. And I just think, you know, it's a bit at that point it gets a bit scary, because you think, you know, how long is it going to be before somebody crashes their drone like into a rider? So obviously you don't want that to happen. And yeah.
Have you seen Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Do you see Nightcrawler?
Yes.
No, I haven't.
Right, it's this film where this guy starts filming car crashes, events like that. It just reminded me a bit of that when you're talking about the amateurs that come into the business and really take a huge risk of life just to get footage.
Yeah, these pesky amateurs. Yeah, I mean, no, I definitely am an amateur myself, but like, I just think I think it's not about like how good you are or anything like that. It's more about, in my opinion, like the respect, because you have to have a respect for like these motocross riders, because you know, if you're going to fly really close to them, because that's like the aim really with FPV, is get as close as you can and get the sickest shots. You want to know that like at least the rider knows you're flying like with them. So, you know, you don't want to rock up and then just start flying your drone around without even asking them if you can film them. So that's like, in my opinion, I'd say number one, just saying, hey, you know, like, do you mind if I film you? Because, you know, you're going to have a really fast drone like fly right by your head. So, you know, you want them to be aware of that. And I think when you're just, especially like if it's somebody new and like you don't really know them, then you just want to be as safe, maybe as safe as you can.
Totally, yeah. That would freak me out if I was on that bike. Is that
a
bird flying by me?
yeah. Some people don't. Yeah, definitely. Like I've had people say that and stuff. Like they're like, oh, I can hear it, but as long as at least they know what it is in terms of like I've told them before. I'd say that's like, yeah. As long as you know the person knows you're filming them, then 100%. You should be like pretty safe.
Yeah, when you hear that noise, you know that it's not some weird fucking creature. You know that it's a drone. It's just a guy wearing goggles. How many people usually come out with you when you're on the like with the drones? Are there like multiple drones flying around? The danger of crashing into one?
No, I mean, it's usually like if I go out, like I might, you know, organize with a rider that we're gonna, because like I've got a few sort of like good riders that I can sort of call upon, and they might be going to track, and I'll like link up with them, and it would just be me, them, and maybe a few other people, but not like I'll be the only drone guy really. There won't be anyone else. Mm-hmm. So that's you don't really want tons of like drones flying around because, like you say, that'd be really sketchy.
Yeah, totally. If a drone crashes into another drone on the track, falls in front of a rider. Yeah.
I mean, I've crashed my drone like following a rider in some woods, and that was like that was okay because it was only him. It was only him sort of riding, really, and then there was one other guy, but they both knew I was flying, and it was luckily like it was fine. I didn't crash into him. I just sort of crashed behind him. But the only unfortunate bit was the guy behind him then run my drone over. So that wasn't too good. Yeah, but like it was painful. But then like I kept looking back, like because a lot of the parts you can sort of like 3D print and stuff. So I luckily was able to like 3D print all the parts back. So it was kind of lucky, really.
Do you have a 3D printer?
Yeah. Well, I did have one at an old office I was working at, where I used to like sort of have my setup of like computer where I'd go to edit things. And they have one which they let me use, so that was really good, but I'm not there anymore, so I have to get my own.
Yeah, you have to be extra careful when you're flying that drone.
Yeah, you got to be careful, but I think like you got to be careful, like I say, but then at the same time, if you want to get the good shots, you got to risk it, haven't you?
Yeah, true that. Some of the best shots. There's a shot where, well, quite a few of them, but there's one in particular that's seared into my memory where a rider turns a corner and it quite literally looks like your drone is about 20 centimeters from his wheels as he's turning. Do you actually get that close, or is that just...
Yeah. No, that's like, I get that close. Like, however close it looks is sort of like as close it is, or if not closer, because the way the sort of like the GoPro lens works, it always looks like things are further away than they are, I feel. So, it's definitely close as hell, but, I guess it's just, I think as well, like having that confidence in flying, like I remember when I first started, flying the drone, before I even got a drone or anything, I was on a flying simulator. It's proper nerdy, I know, but it was like a drone simulator thing on the computer that I'd basically just fly a drone, and then it would have the same like flight characteristics as it would as in like real life. And it was really, and like to my surprise, when I flew my first drone, it was like almost the same. So it's called Liftoff and it's on Steam, but it's a good little game, and that helped me. Like I probably was on that for a good 6 months, and then after I could properly fly on there, I then got my own drone, and just went from there, really.
Wow! So you got to really understand the physics of the weight of a drone, like when you're turning a corner, how long it takes for it to slow down. Yeah,
definitely. Like understand just the flight characteristics and stuff, and just I think it's just time on the sort of like the sticks, I guess, on the controller, and it's helps that I was good at Xbox, I guess, back in the day, but other than that, like it's a completely different like world of flying. It's different than any other drone you fly. Like, it's got no assists, no safety precautions. It won't stop if you get near anything. It will just, keep plowing on. So it's completely different, but I think that's what makes it quite special, and why it's why like the videos are, I guess, like a lot different than what you'd see anywhere else. Because a lot of people don't really, when they see some of my videos, they don't understand how it's been filmed. So yeah, I think that's why it does sometimes well on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So when you've got this drone in your hand, have you got sorry, not in your hand, you've got the headset on covering your eyes, and you've got, is it 2 controllers or 1 controller in your hand?
No, yeah. So you've got the drone obviously flying, then you've got the headset on, which is connected to a battery, and then you've got a controller, like a remote controller thing, basically like an Xbox controller kind of, but it's a lot bigger and chunkier. And then you've got sort of like the 2 sticks, and that's it. You just sort of pretty much fly with the 2 sticks, and then that's all you have really. So you don't see anything. You only see, what the drone sees. So you don't know, you don't have any sort of like awareness of anything going on around you. You only have awareness of the drone at that point, if you know what I mean.
Yes, yeah. You said you were also into the 3D printing as well as the drones, and of course that was part of your business. But are there any parts of technology any other parts of technology that you've gotten involved in?
I mean, loads. I think the whole thing that I'm in with like creating videos and that sort of thing, you can't just be doing one thing, I feel, especially like, I think in this day and age, like where everything's quite like saturated in terms of like, if you want to be a video creator, you have to, there's a lot of video creators out there, or, you want to do a podcast like you're doing, there's a lot of podcasts out there. You've got to do, I feel like you have to juggle a lot of hats. Like with you obviously doing the podcast, you've got to know a bit about audio, I guess. And then you've got to know, if you want to put it on social media, I'm guessing, you want to know a bit about like how to promote it. So you've got marketing, you've got audio guy. And if you go into video, then you might need to learn like a video software so you can cut them up. So all that sort of thing, I mean, just like obviously on you, I think you probably want to learn those or pay someone else to do it. And that's the thing, is you can pay someone else, but when you're starting out, like usually, I didn't really have any money. So it's like, I can't pay anyone to do it. So I'm just going to do it myself. So basically, I learned how to, film. So I learned, just taught myself. I didn't go to film school or anything. With just a normal camera, and learn about like exposure and ISO and, white balance and all that stuff. Like, I'm still learning it now. I don't feel like I've got, like, I don't feel like I don't know it all of it, like know it all sort of thing. But, I feel like I've got a fairly good grasp on it. And then, sort of like going on from that, it goes on and on, because you learn how to film, then you need to learn how to put it on the computer and edit. And then within editing, there's tons of things like coloring, like colorist, and like, all that stuff, and logo design, like, a lot of that stuff I've done. And it's very much like jack of all trades, master of none. But I'm hoping that I can get good on the drone, because I think that's really what I'm liking, and what's done sort of like the best, I guess, for me. So I'm definitely pushing more to that. But yeah, technology is everywhere, and I guarantee that if you push the podcast, you'll need to know more and more about different things. I'm sure.
Totally, I'm finding that right now. When like after I'm done recording, I upload it straight away, and having to splice these images together, or edit for my Instagram. I'll edit the 1 hour long podcast down to around a minute. And I already knew how to edit from a few years ago. And like you said, all of these things really, all these past experiences come together to help you in the future. And I suppose once you have that sort of base knowledge, it's just fine tuning your art.
Yeah, I think, definitely. I think like having that base layer of, it depends obviously what you're going into, but me and you were similar in the fact that we're, doing like something to, for an audience, I guess. So yeah, you'll need to call upon, if you know how to video edit, that's going to be a massive help if you go into the video side of things, which, I probably would recommend, like doing a podcast these days.
And then the video as well onto it rather than just audio.
Yeah. 100%. I'd say, like the way Instagram is and the way like a lot of the social platforms are, they're predominantly video based, and I don't really see that changing anytime soon, at least. Obviously you've got your own platforms in terms of like the podcast platforms, like the Apple Podcasts and Spotify are doing their own thing and stuff. So obviously I'm guessing they're just audio, and you can obviously have that option. But I feel like if you just started out and you want to grow, I don't know. I think people can make their own way, whichever way they like. I don't feel like there's only one way, but sort of my advice, I guess, would be to go into video, just because that's the way a lot of these Instagram platforms sort of want, because that's the most engaging type of content. If you know what I mean. I don't know. But yeah,
totally. When you're watching the video, you can see the other person's reaction. You can also include clips of what we're talking about. Like when I'm talking about a certain shot that you filmed, I can include that in and it adds spice.
Yeah, definitely. I thought about that before coming on the podcast. Like a couple of things I would definitely do, like looking at your clips. Obviously you just started, so I think like what you've done already is pretty good in terms of like just getting guests on, I guess, and talking to people. Like, I mean, I'd be nervous about like just asking people to talk, because I don't know, it's just something different. I'd be nervous about that. So I think like what you've done already is pretty good.
Thank you.
And yeah, moving on, I think like you definitely go towards the video side of things. I'd probably if you're comfortable doing that and stuff. And you just got to put yourself out there and try it and see how it goes. Like, and I think it'll work. I think like if you do, like you say, use the clips and take snippets from different podcasts, like when we talk about the social media stuff, you can clip this, and that might be interesting. Like, do you know what I mean? A small sort of form factor of content that's what's popping really at the minute on Instagram and stuff. Like the 15 to 30 seconds is kind of like sort of, you don't really want to go any longer than that, like on those platforms at the moment. It's just people are having such a short attention span, and the platforms are driving like a more like shorter attention span, just more and more, especially with TikTok, like 15 seconds max, and they've switched off, they're gone, and they're on to the next piece of content. So like when you're creating these bits, you've got to keep that in mind, because you kind of have to work within their framework, I guess. So yeah.
Totally. So when I'm doing these edits, it's better to edit it down to around 30 seconds ish rather than a minute long.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go even shorter than that, and probably go, if you can, maybe 15. Yeah, I think for yours, maybe it might be hard to go to 15 seconds. I think if you had video, it'd be a bit easier, because it's a bit more like you could actually have some reaction or something from, do you know what I mean? Like some sort of like exciting piece of content you could probably use for like 15 seconds. And then that could obviously go as an Instagram reel, like that, because that's, really doing well at the minute. And then that could also go on TikTok. And you can always post like the bigger things. There's nothing stopping you doing that. It's just the sort of the real small ones at the minute are quite good. And you can, you'll be able to get more content out if you're cutting it down to 15 seconds rather than a minute, because you'll have a lot more clips, if you know what I mean. So that would be good, I guess.
Yeah. But like you said, it's very difficult with platforms like this, and you cannot change the attention span of people at this stage. There's no way. And it's frustrating in a way for creators, because it's hard for me at the moment to even cut it down to a minute, because there's so much I want to include of the things that my guests have shared. So cutting it down to 15 seconds would be horrendous. Like painful.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, I think I 100% agree with you, because in your mind, like you sort of need at least the minute to even paint the picture of what's going on, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, I suppose I could be, if I had more skill with it and I fine-tuned the editing, then I'd be able to summarize everything in 15 seconds. Like with the last post I had with my friend Ruben, I could have him quickly mention masculinity, quickly go on to gender, and just bounce topic to topic, rather than having about 5-10 second speech on each. It would be about a minute, a second or two of him just saying the word masculinity.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's hard. I think it's going to be hard for you without video to do that, because I think if you had a snippet of 15-second audio, it's hard for somebody to get like on board with that. I mean, I could be wrong. Like, I'd definitely give it a go, but I think to maximize your chances, I'd try and get like a video. Obviously the person's happy, like doing the video thing, and then posting those sort of like 15-second snippets, and really working within the algorithm, even though it's not maybe like, what I mean? Like, I know you're saying, it'd be a travesty to cut it down to 15 seconds, but you've got to, it's hard really, because you kind of, unless you're sort of like really, really famous and people automatically know who you are and what you're about, you've got to do sort of work within their framework and that kind of thing. So that's sort of like, I guess, what I've learned. And it's hard to break away from the sort of algorithm and what Instagram wants you to do and what TikTok wants you to do, because their ultimate goal at the end of the day is to keep you on the platform for as long as possible. So if I put in a minute video up, somebody clicks on it and flicks off straight away, then that's going to go, that obviously is just, they're not going to show it to many people. So, 15 seconds seems to be the golden number at the moment, but I'm sure it will change.
Yeah, totally. Like you said, with these companies like Instagram, with their main aim being keeping people on the app for as long as possible, then they can push ads, they can get revenue. And if someone stumbles across my page and starts listening to, 30 seconds into one of the clips and goes, Jesus Christ, this is boring. And then they go, God, Instagram is boring. And then they leave the app. And that is a danger to Instagram, rather than going from like a cool motorbike video that's 15 seconds long, and then another video of a cat climbing a tree, whatever.
Yeah.
I've noticed you have about 20,000 followers.
On Instagram.
Yes, yeah. How do you have more elsewhere?
On TikTok, I think I'm on about 400 and something thousand, I think.
Wow. 500,000 almost.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how many, it's on something around there, which is, I'm obviously happy with, like really happy with. So, it's, I mean, I have like a interesting story, I guess, with TikTok that I think you'll find interesting, because I think this could help you, quite a lot as well, doing like starting up as you are. So I was sort of like scrolling around, and I found this guy on YouTube like that did a really good cover of like this song. Like, so I thought, I'd love to use that in one of my videos. And at this point, like I definitely had like a grasp on TikTok and Instagram of what I liked and the whole 15-second thing. And like I said to him, do you mind if I use your music in one of my videos? Like, because I really like your covers and all that sort of stuff. And he was like, yeah, no worries. Like, this is all over DM. Like, I don't even know where he lives. And so anyway, so I said that, and then I noticed he hadn't really posted anything on Instagram, like in terms of his content, because I thought it was really good. And then also he didn't have a TikTok account. So I just DM'd him and said, you should really set up a TikTok account, because I think your music would do really well on there. And so obviously he didn't have anything at this point, and like probably like 1,000 followers on Instagram or whatever. And so he started doing it. I gave him a few tips, like same thing as what I've told you really about the 15 seconds. And I gave him a few tips on like hashtags and like caption and a few things like that. So he starts sort of going off on his way, and he does like a few videos on TikTok, and they get like 800 views, 500 views, and like that's like for sort of, that's good. Yeah, don't get me wrong, that's really good. But sort of like for TikTok, it's kind of you can get a lot more. And I knew I sort of had like this underlying feeling that his content would be perfect for this 15-second clip, like a well-known song that everyone knows, his own cover on his guitar, like it would do really well. So I sort of just said to him, definitely do it. He starts doing it, and then I remember going on there like fairly recent, and one of his videos was like on I don't know, like 500,000 views or something. And I was like, holy, like shit, like fair play, like is popping off. Like not like sort of like as I thought, but it's really cool to see him like do really well. And then since that one video did well, then he's kept sort of like the wave rolling, and he's done more, and like loads of his videos are on well over 100,000 views and thousands of likes, and I think he's coming up to like 100,000 followers. So yeah, like, and that's probably within like, I don't know, 2 months. So it's just like where there's like bad things in sort of like the sort of attention span going down, there's also like opportunity where, you know, people have this opportunity now where TikTok's such a new thing, and Instagram Reels, you know, are fairly new now, with, you know, that's sort of like their answer to TikTok, where there's like I'd say a big opportunity for people if they want to grow, is to take advantage of the new things and not just be a consumer, actually create. And yeah, so I don't know, I just thought that was a cool story, because I guess he, you know, I'm sure he would have done really well, like, and he would have got on TikTok eventually, but it was cool to see him like go on TikTok and implement some of my ideas, and for it to actually sort of like grow and do well, like that felt really good. So yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah, that's impressive. Can you remember his name, his username?
I think it's like Durera. It's a funny name. Okay. I'll try and find it, but yeah, he where is he?
If this was in video form, when you said that he received 500,000 views, you would have seen my jaw dropping. That's insane. In 2 months to be able to gain that many. Is that how you gained your 20,000? Because you started in around January. Is that how you gained 20,000 followers on Instagram?
Yeah. So I started in January, like starting I guess my Instagram page is called Shredmoto, because I wanted something kind of cool that related to motocross and shredding, and like, because shredding is like, I guess, a word for like going fast or something. So yeah, I just set that up, and then about like, I guess the start of it, I had like quite a good vision in my head at the start of the year. I was like, right, I'm going to really push this. I went to like the first event, which was like the biggest, like the GPs in the UK. I think that was in January or February or something. I can't remember. Or maybe March, I'm not sure, but it was the start of the year. And then obviously then sort of like COVID and stuff really started taking hold, obviously this year, or last year, sorry. And then, yeah, so obviously a lot of the things all stopped. And I was like, oh, well, that was a great start, because I had a real good plan in my head of doing tons of content and pushing my stuff, and now it's all stopped. So that happened. And that was when I thought, well, if I'm stuck at home, let's at least do something. So that's when I knew about the FPV stuff. I knew I wanted to get into it, and I just saw it as the sort of like perfect time to start getting into it and learn it. And yeah, so I sort of did that. Spent, like I say, 6 months learning it, and then I think I just started posting my content like everyone else, really, and learning how it goes as I went. Just picking up some tips along the way. And I think there was like a big turning point for me when I did a shoot for a sort of like a gym company called MotoFit. And this is, I'd say, definitely the biggest turning point in like sort of like last year. I had like a TikTok account I just set up. I had a Instagram, obviously. I probably had about 800 followers on maybe both, like around about 800 followers. And then I did a post on TikTok with this guy, sort of going down like a Welsh sort of like valley lane sort of thing, and with the drone. And then I posted that to TikTok, and it just blew up. It just went like pretty viral. It hit like, I think 14 million views. So that, like, to me was probably the biggest turning point, because from there, obviously I went from like 800 followers on TikTok to like, I don't know, like 200,000 within like probably, I don't know, like I can't really remember. It was a few weeks, if that. And it just went crazy. And then, yeah, I've just pretty much been surfing that wave ever since. And I then obviously transferred that TikTok sort of knowledge and the way I did TikTok videos to Instagram Reels when they first sort of rolled out the Reels sort of platform. And I guess I had like similar success on there, where I think like I guess a turning point on there would be when I filmed Taylor Hamill pro motocross rider at a track, and that hit like 2.2 million or something. So obviously like super sick. Like I'm like really pumped with that. Like, I can't even believe it, because from going from like, obviously probably imagine going from like 800 to that's like a huge difference. And but yeah, it's like, it's interesting because yeah, it's good. No, I think you just got to embrace the changes, like, and like see the opportunity where there's maybe not, you don't think there is, I guess. I don't know.
Totally. Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think there was any opportunity in TikTok whatsoever. I suppose I've had a bit of a closed-minded view on it, thinking that it's not really a platform for creators, but from random TikToks that I've seen on Instagram that get reposted, it clearly isn't that, and there's so much more opportunity out there.
Yeah,
is that
I definitely
the
get on
bulk
it.
of your Instagram followers?
No, not really, which I think is probably a surprise. Because obviously I did have my Instagram linked to it. You can have it sort of linked at the top. And I that was the plan. I was like, oh, let's definitely try and transfer these across. But it wasn't as easy as that. I think I definitely would have got like probably a few thousand, like maybe, I don't know. I definitely say I've got a few from it, but the majority of my followers have come from Instagram, like within the app itself, like where I've done videos within Instagram and they've done well. That's where I've seen the most growth, I'd say. And like, yeah, again, that's with Instagram Reels, really, like all the other, like the video, and I've had a little bit of success with like a few pictures here and there, but like predominantly Reels have been like, I'd say, the biggest sort of driving force in terms of like the follower count. So yeah, that's been good. But like, followers like are great. Like I'm really happy and everything. Like I love all my followers and like it's really good. But it doesn't mean like just the number is still like, it's not just a number. But like you can't get caught up in like, oh, I want this many followers. I want this many numbers. I want thousands of views. I want, because that's not like the reason I started it was because I like doing it, and that's still the reason I do it now. Not for sort of like the number game, because I've definitely been caught up in that since, having a bit of success. I've been, like, oh, my post didn't get this many likes, like it's no good and it's not done well. But I think I've definitely taken a step back and just like wanted to, and just posted what I wanted and not what I thought would do well. And I think like there's definitely like, I guess trying to balance that now is probably, I'd say, the key, because there's no point posting stuff if nobody's seeing it, but then again, there's no point posting stuff just for the views and not enjoying it. So yeah, I think there's definitely a balance there to be had.
Yeah, 100%. There are a lot of YouTubers. I don't know about TikTok as much, but I've heard that a lot of YouTubers put on this persona that they know the viewers love, and they end up sticking with it, and ends up causing them depression and feeling like they've lost themselves just because they're chasing what they know the viewers will love, which is painful. Like, I'd rather be creating a podcast or doing photography. I have a photography account as well that I enjoy and love, and that only gets around, I don't know, 20 likes, as long as and I'd rather have that than be going out every day taking photos or doing podcasts where I'm putting on this fake persona where I'm getting like 2,000 likes or whatever, 2 million likes. I'd rather be doing what I enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. I think like you want to, that's the thing. It's like it's hard because you want to do things that you enjoy, but you also want ideally, I guess, you want the exposure. I mean, I'm talking like, I don't know if some people might not want exposure, but I'm guessing you'd want exposure so you can carry on maybe doing it as more of a like, do it as your sort of life rather than just do it as a hobby. Well, that's like sort of like where I looked at it, but I don't know whether if it's just a hobby for you, then I guess, you don't mind either way. But if you're trying to sort of make it into something, I guess it's hard then at that point because you don't want to resent it, do you?
Exactly, 100%. I do want it to become where I gain my income from as well. I want to.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan gains around $20,000 a podcast. It might I googled that a few months ago, so that might have gone up by now.
That's crazy.
And yeah, for sure. Like, getting that on a podcast, that would cover me for quite some time. And
yeah, definitely.
It's so beautiful, the thought of not having to go into a job that I don't enjoy, such as, I don't know, no disrespect to a dishwasher, but it's not a job that I personally enjoy. Like, it's a job that I've worked before that I wouldn't want to do for the rest of my life. I think there's an art to talking to people and creating a good podcast, and that is where I'd want to get my income from, totally, to be able to just do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think I think if you keep plugging away, I think you definitely anything's possible. Like, it's not a crazy ask. I don't think. I think like with this day and age, like it's easier than ever to get on these and do, you know, what you want to do in life, rather than, you know, back you know, a fair few years ago. Then I think it was a lot more closed off, and you had to get a like sort of 9-to-5 job and that sort of thing. I think times have definitely changed, where you have there's a lot more opportunity, but where there's a lot more opportunity, there's a lot more sort of like a lot more people doing it. So there's swings and roundabouts, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. But by more opportunity, do you mean like being able to reach out to other, let's say, podcasters?
I think that. I think everything. I think like the internet's just one massive opportunity, really. I think like, you know, if you wanted to set up a podcast, like in my sort of like, I don't know, I guess it wasn't even a thing like years and years ago, but like I think there's just a lot of things you can do. Like if you want to set up if you want to set up a shop, now you could set one up online for like probably £25 a month, you know, on a Shopify website, and it would take you probably like, you know, not very long to learn how to do it, and you'd be paying £25 a month for a full blown shop. Whereas back in the day when there wasn't internet or things like that, then you'd have to rent a place, and then you'd have bills, and you'd have to rely on footfall, and you couldn't like market to the whole entire world. So there's like, I'd say that's what I mean sort of in terms of like opportunity. Like it opens it up to a lot of people, like in terms of, I mean, even with your podcast, like you have the opportunity to reach millions and millions and millions. So that's something new that would never be there. And, you know, but obviously you're fighting against Joe Rogan and all the rest of them. So that's the hard part. But it's good that it's a challenge, I think.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I love a good challenge. It's
yeah, this is definitely a nice big challenge for you.
Yeah, beat the Rogan and the Impulsive podcast.
Yeah, definitely have your own niche. I think that sort of helps for sure. And yours, I feel like you definitely interview a lot of like sort of creative people, don't you? I don't know, is that sort of where you're going with it, or just interesting people? Or
anyone. Now that I'm in lockdown in the UK, I'm going to interview. I've interviewed my mum. I'm going to also interview my stepdad and our lodger, hopefully, if she's up for it.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And literally just anyone. And I think when I initially called it a spoken mess, the idea was, I don't think I was very good at socializing when I first started. I think I could call myself an introvert. And the idea was that conversation filled with possibly laughs, but definitely interesting information and information that could hopefully be useful to people can come from a conversation with anyone, even the most antisocial person. I suppose that's my niche, being able to have an interesting conversation with anyone, like Rogan.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that's a good little. I think what you're doing is good. Yeah, I think like it's just like you say, it's just if you interview, everyone sort of has, I guess, a story to tell. So that's a good way to look at it for sure.
Totally, yeah. Good to be optimistic.
Yeah. Hopefully you picked up some tips for the next podcast.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, every single podcast I do, there's so much I learn, and I'll change it a little bit when it comes to an episode, or like when I first started, I was relying mainly on questions and just like hammering out question after question, and it felt like almost like an interrogation rather than a conversation. So I learned tell my own little stories, add my own little thing, and do you know Masterclass?
Yeah, yeah.
There was a course on communication with this. I can't remember her name now. Her first name was Robin, and she was saying about how before you start an interview, just have a quick conversation before you start, because the person you're interviewing is a person. And I do that before I start every podcast. I did it with you for 5 minutes or so, and it's not even just a technical thing to do. It's also, it makes the whole process enjoyable.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely like it's definitely good to like just sort of, I guess, sort of get in the same sort of headspace as them and have a like it just helps. I think it just helps you relax, really, doesn't it? I think like the same thing. I do the same sort of thing when I'm filming people, and if I need to film an interview like for a rider or a pro rider or something, if I don't know them, then like sort of like just easing them into it, like having a chat, like what are they up to, how's the day, how's the new bike, something like that, just pretty small talk. But yeah, I'm sure you find that it helps the conversation flow a bit easier when you actually get into the meat of the podcast, I guess.
Exactly, yeah, 100%. It'll be a bit weird if the second you answered the call, I was like, so you do, you film motorbikes? What the fuck? Calm down, man.
Yeah, what is that?
Very inhuman. Have you actually interviewed?
No, yeah, I think you're good.
Bikers. Oh, thank you. Have you?
Interviewed, yeah, because obviously, like sort of not just, I don't just do sort of like drone videos. I do a lot of sort of normal videos, and for businesses like the gym I was speaking to you about before, like they've wanted like quite a few videos and stuff. So I've done like interviews with the guy who runs that, and he like talks about his gym in the interviews, say, and we sort of like know each other quite well now, so it's not like awkward, I guess, like as it like I guess was at the start, because when you first don't ever know somebody, obviously there's always a little bit of like awkward tension, I guess. You don't really know, what they think or anything. So that's sort of gone with him. But like, yeah, I do like sort of interview stuff with riders, and if I need them to talk about like their new team or anything really, then yeah, sort of like need to sit them down, put a camera, sort of set up a camera, lighting maybe, and then just ask them questions basically. Like obviously I'm not in the interview, it's just them talking, but still need to sort of have some kind of communication skills to be able to get like the information you want out of them, I guess.
Yeah, of course. If you were a total mess at having conversation, you wouldn't be able to access that. You'd like be stuttering, and they'd be like, oh fuck, this poor guy.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh, god damn it. Yeah. Yeah.
Is he going to ask me a question or just talk about his breakfast?
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had my fair share of like bad interviews, like interviewing people. I guess I haven't really got a proper horror story, but I think like when you just generally, like when you first start, like you are, well, I was anyway, like pretty nervous and not sure what to say, and like not sure how to like conduct myself when like actually doing an interview with someone. Do you know what I mean? And it's, I think I just learned that along the way, really.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of pressure. Like you've got all these eyes watching you. Like, oh my god, I don't want to say something wrong. But the more you do it, the more you realize it's just a conversation.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a lot better when it's more like fluid and like chilled, for sure.
Totally, yeah, and it's more of a relaxed experience for the listeners then also.
Yeah, definitely. They enjoy it more, for sure.
Yeah, no one wants to listen to a very tense person. Well, they might do, I don't know. Depends what you're in.
Yeah, I don't think so, but maybe.
They might want something to relate to. Some messes up.
Yeah. Who knows?
Did you do any preparation before you went into those interviews with the
I did a little bit, yeah, for sure. I did like just sort of like, if I didn't know the guy, I think with the first Motorfit interview, I'd obviously like that's the gym guy. Like I just checked out like what his gym was about, what he's doing, what his plan is, just sort of a background check, I guess, on like what he's all about. And then I think like on the day, it's just then a case of like getting to know him, like just having a bit of small talk, bit of banter, and then just like trying to be as just normal really as possible. Like, because I think when you're nervous, you don't act normal. You're not really yourself. So I think it's just a case of just chilling out really. That's what I've learned. I don't know how you find it. Like, I don't know if you, I guess, do you research like people's background when you interview them and stuff, or?
Yeah, I try to. I try to go into it usually through the Instagram, because that's where I find my guests. I usually look through their Instagram. And
I was going to ask, how did you find me then?
The same way I find all my guests. I go onto, the location tab on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I just typed in Dorchester because I knew I'd be here. And
okay.
Yeah, one of your little photos popped up. I clicked on it, went, "Oh, that's sick," and popped you a message.
What? I can't remember doing a picture in Dorchester. To be fair, I must have done something
peculiar. It might be like the local area that it picks off as well. Because
it might. I think it'll probably be like Beer Regis, because I do tons of stuff there. So I reckon it's probably from there. But yeah, no, that's a good way actually to do it. Because I remember when you said it was like so local, I was like, oh crikey. I had to make sure you weren't a serial killer.
Yeah, that would be weird. How does he know that I live 5 minutes? Or very close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was a lot more comfortable doing the Zoom interview. No, I'm joking.
No, understandable. I had a guest come with a friend recently because they weren't sure, and I don't blame them. Like, the internet is a scary place, and you don't know who you're going to come across.
And with bodyguards, that's what I'd recommend.
I'm not that bad, trust me.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I think you'll definitely have to do a few more Zoom podcasts going forward, though.
For sure, yeah. Well, I suppose this is the first one I've done on Zoom, and this has really opened me up to the opportunity of doing podcasts with people in other countries as well, like America, Australia.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you could actually really go anywhere with it. That would be interesting.
Yeah, because before I had this idea that the podcast has to be in person, the same way I was thinking about TikTok, and I don't know why. I don't know where that came from. But the whole idea was, if it's in person, then I can respond off the person properly. I can read their body language. It's more of a connection with the conversation. But this has been amazing. Like,
yeah, I think like definitely. I would have thought, I can't believe I was pretty like impressed and surprised that you did it in person, because I think if I was doing it for the first time, I'd be like, I guess, nervous to meet them and stuff. So I'd like kind of want it over Zoom. So if it all went like belly up, I could just dip. But like, yeah, I think it's fair play to you for like actually inviting people to like your podcast. I don't know, do you have like a little setup? I guess you have a little setup or something.
I do in Chichester, where I usually podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
But in Dorchester, I was just doing it in my living room in my parents' house.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Which is fine. It works out, to be fair. But it is that thing of bringing a stranger into the house.
Yeah. Like, who am I bringing in this week?
A person that I've never met before. Yep, seems safe. Makes sense.
Yeah. Definitely is a little bit sketchy, but you gotta put yourself out there, I think, to do it. There's no other way really. And I think like when it comes to videoing as well, like obviously I guess you could record on Zoom as well, so that's I think an option to do. But yeah, like when it comes to filming, like if they're there as well, like that's another thing to think about, and have like a camera set up. I don't know. Do you think you will get like moved to video, or are you happy like just sticking to the audio? Or?
That's an interesting one. I think because I do want the podcasts to be listened to as a conversation. I like to just focus on the audio. So like if a person is driving or they're cooking, doing some sort of task where they can stick the podcast on in the background, or going for a walk or a jog, whatever.
Yeah.
Rather than, okay, I'm going to sit down now and watch a spoken mess. But that is what...
Could do both.
I could do. That's true. There's no harm in it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'd say that, yeah. I mean, I definitely like the idea of having like like a podcast that you can like listen to and just not, you know, like you say, do like go about your day and listen to. I think that's really cool, because I think that's what I do with, if I'm on a big like journey to somewhere, then that's what I do. I just stick on a podcast and just listen to it, obviously. But there's a lot of times where I do watch podcasts as well. I think like when I'm at home and I'm just on my phone and, you know, there's like an interesting, because I find I watch a lot of clips rather than the whole podcast a lot of the time. And it might be like a little clip on YouTube or something. Usually that's like 10 minutes, because I think 10 minutes is the number on YouTube you want to sort of aim to. But yeah, I find I watch more podcasts than I actually listen to. Although I listened to a couple of yours, but I think that might have been because I was coming on as well.
Yeah, of course. You got to know what you're like kind of stepping into.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
But yeah,
what did you sort of expect before this? Like, have you ever been interviewed before?
No, not really. I think I don't know. I was quite happy, because I feel like I have something to share with my experience. I think before maybe a year ago, when I just first started what I was doing, and I mean, to be fair, I haven't just been doing it for a year. I've been doing it a long time before that, because I was like just working for clients. I wasn't doing anything for myself. But I think like having the experience with the social medias and stuff, I think it's cool. I felt like I just had something cool to maybe like share with you and like whoever listens to it. I think, you know, they might at least be able to get something from it. And I feel like confident in what I'm saying. So like when you know, said about the whole like entrepreneurial thing and setting up, like doing the social media and all that kind of stuff, I just thought, well, I definitely can, you know, at least I have something to talk about that I know about, if you know what I mean, rather than just like, hey, come on my podcast. Like, you know, I don't really know what you do, but yeah, at least I sort of had something to do, like talk about, I guess.
You had like a subject to sort of think about, mull over, prepare.
Yeah. And I think like it definitely, I straight away, I thought, oh, for you, it'd be maybe beneficial, and for other people or whatever. Because I think there's like a lot of people that were even on your podcast were on Instagram as well. So I thought like, well, you know, a lot of these people that listen to the podcast, or, you know, are interested in the creative stuff, or whoever you're sort of like, or if they're setting up their own business or whatever, then at least they've got, you know, at least there's something they can, I guess, take away from maybe my Instagram strategy, or like what I think about TikTok, or like, yeah, something. But I thought, yeah, I just thought I had something to say, I guess. I don't know.
Totally. I think you had a lot to say. It like a lot of very useful.
Too much.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
could be talking for hours. And social media algorithms, the fun of actually, in a way, it's like a sport. What you do with the drone, like it's.
Yeah, well, there is drone racing. There's a drone racing league, so that is like kind of a proper sport, I guess. I mean, it's definitely growing, and like a lot more people are doing drone racing, and it has got quite a big scene, to be honest. That's how all these race drones came about, was from racing, like from actually racing them. I never got into it from that. I'd known about it when they were racing them, but I only really got into it because of the filming opportunities that it brought. And like the really good thing about it is that like it took me forever to be able to learn to fly it. It took me forever to actually like learn properly how to do it all. So I think, well, if it took me a long time, it's going to take other people like a long time. So there's like a high sort of barrier to entry into it, if you know what I mean. And I just thought, well, if I can like actually learn it and do it, that sets me apart from other people, I guess. So that's why, like, I guess I got into it, but I never got into it for the original reason it was sort of like it came about, which was for the racing side of things. I would like to try the racing, but it seems like you crash a lot, and also it's like expensive, because when you crash, it's like just you've got to rebuild all your stuff again. And I don't know, I just can't be asked with like rebuilding everything every time I crash it, because I can imagine I'll probably crash it loads like racing. So I just stick to the simulator.
Yeah. Oh, that shocks me that there's a sport in drones, because they have these courses, and surely you just press forward. Is it a bit like Robot Wars, where you can customize your drone to be faster, or are they all supposed to be around the same spec?
I think like Drone Racing League has their own drone, which I'm not an expert on this. Like I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure like they have their own drone, which everyone races the same drone. And yeah, you don't just press forward. It's quite like, it's really hard to learn. Like I say, it took me on a simulator 6 months. So you can imagine like how good the top guys are. They're just, absolutely rapid. So it's pretty, it's one of those new ones, isn't it? Like how esports has like come about and is now massive, with like, a lot of major brands jumping on board with like esports and stuff and sponsoring gamers, and that whole thing like has completely blown up since the sort of whole gaming industry. So I think like with the drone industry, it's kind of similar because you're looking for a screen, and everyone's sort of like sat down when they race or sort of like sat next to each other, similar to like esports. So I think it's like in that kind of realm of sport. If you call gaming a sport, I guess it's like drone racing is like definitely different because you're actually physically flying something, but it's the same as in like you're on a controller and you're controlling something. So yeah, it's getting bigger. But I think like for me, the filming side of it's more interesting because you don't only just have to fly it, you have to actually capture a shot, and then you have to edit it, which all the parts of what I do I really do enjoy. And I think like that was a big thing of coming out of school, was like not knowing what I wanted to do, and then eventually finding this is I feel like really lucky because I actually like everything about it. I like the flying of the drones, I like filming with a normal camera, I like coloring, like as in like color grading and stuff with on Premiere Pro and cutting, and then I also really like the whole like social media side of it, of like posting a post and see how it does. Like that to me is like, might sound boring, but like to me it's like really exciting of like, oh, how's this one going to do? Like, oh, I reckon this one's going to blow up, or like this is going to be like a really sick shot. I can't wait to share it with everyone. Like all that stuff. Like I just love it. I think like I couldn't do one part of it all the time. Like I couldn't be just a camera operator. Like that couldn't be my job for like ever, because I get so bored after a certain amount of time doing it. And I think that's the same with it all. Like I couldn't just be a like drone flyer. I couldn't just be a editor. I think all of it together for me is like what's interesting and like keeps me like loving it. And yeah, I think and moving on from all that stuff, like I really want to set up like eventually I want to set up like some sort of like build a brand around what I'm doing. But like that's something I haven't massively thought about, but it's just something I'm excited about because I know eventually down the line I'm going to do it, or sell some merch or something. I don't know, but somewhere down the line I want to sort of build a bit of a business around it. So and harness the views.
Yeah. Have you got any merch right now?
No, I mean I've printed a few things like for my like some of the good riders like Taylor Hamill and Jamie Carpenter. They're probably like some of the best like riders I'd say I film at the minute, and have sort of I guess built like a friendship with, I guess, like in terms of knowing them only from filming to actually like being able to like call upon them, and if I need like help or something like with a shot, or like they'll be able to like actually provide like talent, like they're sort of like the talent, I guess. Wow. And so yeah, they've got like some of my hoodies because I want them to like rep the brand, I guess. And I think like, and they're both local as well, like fairly local. So I think starting local is good, and going from there are probably the plan. But like, I haven't released anything, nothing's for sale or anything like that. But I think like it's more about building the brand awareness before I even think about selling anything. So that's like the whole business side of things, which I like find really interesting, and like it's so complex, and there's so many routes you could take with business and what to do and how to do it. But like, I think that's what's interesting about it.
Totally, yeah. What you're saying about how the editing is just as much fun as the flying, or maybe not just as much of a thrill, but
it still has its own like thrill for sure. It still has its own. It's different from flying. Obviously, it's not as high intense, but like I love going out and meeting everyone and meeting riders and meeting new people. But then at the same time, I love coming back to like a nice, warm, cozy editing like place where I can, look at all my footage like alone with no one and just have a chill time on my own. Like that I love the contrast, and I think people are different, but for me, like that's what I like is the contrast in, like, I guess, introvert, and then I wouldn't really say I'm an extrovert, but I say I just do like going out and then also coming back.
No, totally. I find I'm the exact same with the podcasts. Like today, I went for a walk and listened to the podcast with Charlie, and the idea is whilst I'm walking, I'll take a note of the little timestamp of when to edit for an Instagram clip, and it's so much fun. It's really enjoyable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think you'll really enjoy it as well when you actually move. Well, if you do make the move to video, I think you'll really enjoy like getting the clips and putting them online. I think that would be a fun, like real fun experience, because you'll have like a story someone's told, or like a real interesting bit of information. And like the thing is, like with that is that you could say somebody like we're speaking about Instagram and algorithms. Like there's a whole like not industry, but there's a whole niche on people growing Instagram accounts and how to do it and strategies and all this stuff. Like trust me, I've like looked at a lot of them because like I wanted to learn myself. So if you have a snippet of somebody saying that, then you can sort of like market that snippet to that niche. And then you sort of brought that audience. If it goes up to that audience and does well, then you bring that audience to you, sort of thing. But it doesn't obviously have to be that, because then they might be talking about something completely different in the next sentence. I feel like with you could definitely like snippet certain parts and then market them towards, like, especially with like the hashtags and all that sort of thing of like, oh, like this is an interesting bit of information on a podcast. And I think people listen to podcasts like a lot more and will stay engaged for longer if it's about sort of what they're interested in. So that's definitely, like, if I was doing it, I'd probably do that.
Totally. I think the main issue I have at the moment is I cannot afford a camera. But
oh, okay.
Well, I suppose I have my phone. That should be enough to get two people in a shot. I've got a wide angle lens on my phone.
I think 100%. I think you should just. I think what's best is because you're so. How many you haven't. You're fairly. When did you start then? When did you start doing it?
Oh Christ! Probably around November, maybe.
November.
Yeah.
Okay, so not long. Probably like 2 to 3 months or whatever. So, like, as you're very much in the early stages of it, I would probably say just don't worry about the quality of like so much, like, oh, it's not the best camera, or it's not the best audio. Like, I think your audio is on point. Looks like you've got like good audio stuff. So that, if it looks like you got that nailed, I think, like, but I wouldn't worry so much in terms of like, oh no, it's just not good enough quality. I'd just do it and learn from there, because what you'll do is you'll get content and you'll put it out, and then you'll learn things that, oh, I need to change the light in here, I need to change that. And then when you do get a really good camera, you already know a lot of things that you've learned along the way. So I wouldn't I try not to hang yourself up on like all the like intricacies of quality and like it needs to be the best of the best, like, because I know, like, I mean, I'm very much like that. I need the best of the best things, but sometimes it's better just to do it rather than worry about it, if you know what I mean.
Totally. Yeah, that's exactly how I was before I started this podcast. I was like, wow, I'm having to do it over Zoom. The quality is going to be perfect. How the others have been with the there may not be an amazing quality microphone, or the signal might cut out and it might be a bit glitchy, but none of that's actually happened. It's actually been a pretty clear call.
Oh, that's good then.
But with Joe Rogan, when he first started his first episodes, the quality was quite glitchy. He'd just do video calls with friends. I don't think the audio was the best either. And
I think I haven't really watched many of his real old ones. I remember when he was in a different room, but his like, I think his thing was that he's very much like that he did it because he just wanted to have interesting conversations with his mates, and then it's just blown up from there. So yeah, that stemmed from obviously like a interest still, which I think if you're doing it for like views or anything, then there's no point really doing it. Like, you need to be doing it for interest, because you'll only get so far like worrying about how many views you got before you jack it in. Whereas if you're passionately and actually interested in it, then you'll just carry on doing it. And I think you'll actually see a lot more success that way as well.
Yeah, totally. It's actually really enjoying the process of it. I found myself, when I'm thinking about the views, that I immediately, the next podcast is coming up. Can I be fucked? Do I even want to do this as a career? And then if I just listen to a little bit of a different podcast, then I'm like, damn, that was fun. I enjoyed recording that. And then it's straight back into it, enjoying the process.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like how old are you?
I'm 19.
19. So you're pretty young still. And like, I think you're like, I feel like at that age, like things might change. Like you might go down the line and think, podcast was sick, but now I want to do this. Or like, I think it's all about the journey and like, cause I've done so many things before I fell on videoing and like making videos and Instagram and TikTok. Like, I've done loads and loads of things before this. So I think, that was sort of like the whole sort of phase from leaving school to like where I am now. There's a massive, like, I think the key is just to do loads of things and just eventually I feel like I'd like to think you eventually find something you really like doing, and it's just hard like knowing what to try and what to do, I think is the hard part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Well, I've given myself a rule of I'm going to do this for 10 years. I don't know if that'll last.
Holy smokes. Yeah, that's commitment.
Well, I was thinking if I do it for that long, surely something will happen. I don't know what'll happen, but
oh gosh, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think 10 years, crikey. Yeah, if you did it from now to 10 years solidly, and you had a different guest every week or so or something, then yeah, I mean, something's going to happen. But yeah, like, I wouldn't feel like, oh, I have to do this for 10 years. Because I think when you think that, sometimes if you put that on yourself, you might start to like think, oh, crikey, I got this forever. And then you might not enjoy it. Whereas if you think, I'm doing this because I like it, then yeah, you can't really go wrong with that.
Totally. Weirdly enough, 10 years seems like a very short amount of time to me. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, life is so short. I don't know.
Yeah. To me, it feels like an eternity.
I don't know what it is. Time just seems to like fly me by.
Oh yeah, time does fly. To be fair, I think like because I'm 24, like in 10 years I'll be 34. So, yeah, that seems quite old to me.
Oh my god, I'll be 29.
Yeah, I won't even hit 30 by then. You're fine.
I'll be all right.
I tell you, a person that would be good to listen to is he does spout on a lot, and some of his things obviously take it with a pinch of salt. But I don't know if have you ever heard of Gary V?
Gary
Vaynerchuk? No. Yeah, Gary V.
No.
Okay, yeah, have a listen to him. He's like a pretty big like entrepreneurial guy, and he's not like a lot of them that try and sell a course. He doesn't sell anything. He just has his own media company, but he's very interesting to listen to and has a lot of good tips on sort of like, I've picked up so much from him and like what he's done in social media and stuff like that. I think, to grow your podcast, I think if that's where you want to go with it, I'd say, yeah, definitely have a listen to him and try some of the things that he says, and I think just experiment. And I think, yeah, you'll definitely in 10 years, crikey, yeah, you'll be either on Joe Rogan or interviewing Joe Rogan. Who knows?
Oh my God, being on Joe Rogan, that would be insane.
Yeah, I'd be very nervous for that.
I would be. I'm sure he'd find a way to relax me. Apparently he smokes weed. But
probably weed.
Yeah, not that I'm into that, but yeah. Well, no. Never know by then.
Definitely.
This has been so much fun.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's been good to be fair.
Your Instagram is shred.moto.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you so much.
No worries, man. Thanks for having me on.
That's all right. Bye.
Bye.